So, upon popular request, and maybe not that popular, I am doing a video to talk a little bit about what the heck happened between Substack and Twitter. And if you are interested, I'm going to link my Substack, appropriately enough, on this very topic. I'm going to put it in the description, which it will have a little bit more context in terms of the screenshots and exchanges in between the key players on Twitter. And so it will give you a little bit more context that I will not maybe be providing as much of in this video. But I'll give you a little bit more of my, I guess, opinions in this particular video. But I'll give you a little bit of context in case you don't know about this whole kerfuffle situation. So it all started when writers, in particular of Substack, noticed that if they were to post a link to their Substack posts, you could not interact with it. In fact, you couldn't like it, you couldn't comment on it, you couldn't retweet it. The only thing you could do is quote tweet it, and if you did so, you couldn't comment, like it, or do any of the things with it. And if you were to click on it, then you would be basically told that you're leading your visitors to a very dangerous website that is marked unsafe. This is not the first time that Elon Musk has played this little trick on us. In fact, he tried to make all links unsafe in this period of being anti-competitive, and he had labeled every link as such, and so all links were marked unsafe whenever anybody tried to click on them. And there was quite a major uproar on it, huge pushback. People are very upset, and he quietly stopped that practice, I think, within a day or two, without really much acknowledgement. Just as is the situation here, he did not say a word until certain players started pushing back on this, what was happening. So originally people thought, well, maybe that was a glitch. And Matt Taibbi, however, who's, of the Substack, of the Twitter files fame, he seemed to have confirmed that this was no accident. And in fact, the reason Elon Musk was doing this is because of Substack's indication that they were going to launch their own product, which may be a bit competitive to Twitter, and it's called Notes. And Substack did announce this product to launch, and the idea there was that it would help discoverability within its own platform and sort of connect readers a bit better so they can discover more writing. But I can see how one might see that as being somewhat of a social media kind of platform competitor, I suppose. And Matt Taibbi was pretty upset about it and said, his loyalty would be with Substack, which makes sense because that's where Matt makes his living, since he has paid subscribers, and nobody makes a living on Twitter, at least not yet. Again, there was really no response, except for some users had noticed that whenever they searched for Matt Taibbi, there was a search ban, as you'll see in my Substack article. And the search ban wasn't, you could still find his account, but if you search, you couldn't search for tweets from Matt. So actually that made it very difficult to even find old Twitter files. The other search ban seemed to appear on the word Substack. In fact, it would return newsletter. So seemed, as many indicated, a bit petty. And one of the people who took an issue with it was Brett Weinstein, which is where we finally hear some response from Elon. And Elon had basically accused Matt of being a double agent, or something like that, being an employee of Substack, which Substack had denied. He said that Substack was downloading data in breach, massive amounts of data for their copycat product through their API. Substack denied doing anything that was beyond the rules and said they're happy to discuss if they are. I've not known Substack to be underhanded, but again, maybe there are details that I'm not aware of. This is a very he said, she said sort of situation in some ways, but I don't think it's being handled particularly well with a lot of transparency. And yeah. And Elon also suggested that links to Substacks were not that you could absolutely go to their website, which is technically accurate, but in reality, it's kind of very misleading. So I think what Elon did with these moves is that he undermined the trust of his users quite a bit. And when he took over the platform, I think he promised, transparency. He promised clarity, and he promised that the rules would be applied to everyone equally. And to be honest, I've not seen that. For many people, he's the Lord and Savior of free speech. And you can argue that maybe there's freer speech. I don't think it's freer in Spaces. It was always about the same because it's very difficult to moderate Spaces. In terms of elsewhere, I think it's probably freer, but people are still getting banned and the TOS isn't super clear in many ways. I think a lot of the issues that I have are issues of management and leadership, not so much technical. I understand technical things take time. I also, when I'm coming at this, and I know some people said that I'm too harsh, too judgmental, et cetera, should be nicer to Elon. I've actually gotten many such comments. I want people to understand that I have zero, I don't have any personal emotions towards Elon. None of this is personal, liking or disliking Elon. I was rooting for him to succeed. Twitter is a platform I like. I wanted to succeed, and by default, so I want Elon to succeed. But I also believe that you have to be honest when something is working, and you have to be honest when something is not. So I'm trying to, the criticism I'm delivering is based on his actions. And if there's praise to be had, I will deliver the praise as well. And I have done so in the past. Here, I think I do echo the sentiments of a lot of people who do feel like they feel unstable on the platform because at any moment there could be a decision made on a whim, not really communicated, and they're sort of cut off, right? Suddenly their links might not longer work, and they've spent a lot of time building their user base and creating content, and it may vanish, it may disappear. My account might get taken off or throttled just because I'm sharing links to Substack, or maybe because I'm criticizing the platform. And that might be deemed, why would you have somebody on a platform or in your business who criticizes you, right? You can make that argument. And how do I know that argument won't be made? And some people say, well, maybe you should charge for having links to exterior sources. All of these changes and how fast they're coming and with how little communication, it makes people feel incredibly unstable, and it sort of betrays their trust. And that's how a lot of people are feeling, including myself. So, and trust, I think trust is incredibly important. We are living at a time where trust is something that a lot of, our institutions have lost our trust for the most part, right? We feel betrayed by so many of our institutions: education, government, media, health, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it is something that is incredibly difficult to build and even harder to build back. And you can't just radically run a company like that. And I think that while it can be charming to, send poop emojis from your PR department, it might be funny to post memes and all that stuff all the time. There are people for whom a lot of this stuff is serious because they invest their time in it. They invest their creativity, they have relationships, and all of that can be disappear like that, and that is serious. And this speaks to something much bigger, and I think this is a common thread, with many social media outlets, not just Twitter. It's like your audience can be gone in an instant, whether, it's because you're no longer happy with the company for whatever reason and you want to move and there's no way to have a change of address because you can't reach everyone at once, right? You can't just send all your followers a message, or because you're deplatformed because your views are not approved, or who knows what, maybe you were mass reported. It's not even your fault. It's not even, because of the company, but you can't get customer service in time. Maybe it's because the company has gone under. There's all sorts of reasons, but you don't own your audience. I hate to say own because it's not, nobody owns anybody, but really you don't own your audience in any way. And, at least on Substack, you sort of do because you can download their emails, but on Twitter, you don't, Instagram, anywhere else, really. And that's a major thing. So it ties you to this one platform that you maybe spent 10, 15 years cultivating. That is a major flaw in how these platforms were set up. Well, not really a flaw for them, it's a flaw for you. And it doesn't incentivize them to necessarily improve because they now have got your attention, especially somebody who's a bigger creator on the platform. So that's something that I think is a bigger issue. But I think with this whole situation with Elon and Twitter and Substack, we might be missing. I'm open to the fact that maybe there's some elements of the story that we're still missing. There might be some information that we do not yet know. And at this point, all the restrictions have been lifted without a word, by the way. But what I would like to see is I'd like to see more of that transparency. I'd like to not see somebody react on a whim. And I'd like to understand why this happened. I would like to understand why this will not happen again. Or if it happens again, I just want there to be absolute clarity and not feel I'm like on this like shaky ground, because like myself, a lot of people have invested a lot of time and attention into this platform and wanted to see it succeed, want to see Substack succeed as well. And really what we expect to see is this honesty and transparency, and not somebody just reacting out of an emotion, or at least that's what it feels like. But hey, I know lots of you might disagree with me, and I always hear from you when you do, which is fine, which is good. I am sometimes wrong, I'm sometimes right, and you let me know either way. So keep doing that, and let me know what you think. For more context, feel free to check out my Substack, and please, help my channel grow if you can like, subscribe to this channel, like some of the posts, videos, comment, all the YouTube things. I will very much appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one.